Hi everyone, welcome once again to Simply Done Technology. Here we make DevOps and cloud engineering role simple for everyone, whether you're a beginner or even you're a senior level. Okay, so this video we will be talking about the relationship between IAM users, groups, and policy. Okay, so let me break it down to explain users, groups, and policy. I've done a previous video trying to explain IAM. If you haven't watched it, please subscribe to my channel, look into the video, and you'll be able to find that video. So IAM users is basically an entity that we create that we can grant access to our resources within AWS. So this user will have credentials like username and password to authenticate into AWS in order to have permission to access our resource. A group, on the other hand, is just a collection of users, a way we can manage various users. Okay, imagine you have a team and you have each member of the team, you can add them to a group. The policy is just a rule or documentation we write and we can attach it to either a user or group in order for them to have access to our AWS resources. So in this video, we particularly gonna dive into what is the relationship like between these three: users, groups, and policies. Okay, so let's move on to the IAM users. So as initially said, it's just an individual or an entity that can authenticate into our AWS environment. With that, they need to have what we call credentials, either password or access keys to securely authenticate into our AWS. Okay, so the next one is just a group. So how do you manage your users? Okay, so let's put down this scenario. Imagine you are a cloud engineer or DevOps engineer and you have your IT security team, members of about, let's say, 20, and they are all requesting access to your AWS account for them to be able to do some security audit. So by that we mean we have 20 users requesting same access within your AWS account. How do we manage this? Okay, so we will have options. First of all, you create individual users and then attach the policies to all those individuals. Okay, that's not the best practices. The best practice is to create those individual users. They'll have their credentials to be able to authenticate. Okay, but what you do, which is the best practice, is to leverage on what we call group level. That is a collection of them. So you create a group and therefore you add all those users to the group. Why is it so? This is for easy management of your policies. So those users are all requesting for same access, which is like AWS audit. To that end, you only going to manage a single policy. So you create the users, you create a group, you add the users to the group, and what you do is you attach a single policy to the group. So all the users within the group will be able to have access. Okay, so this is how you leverage on it. You leverage on the group to be able to manage your policy properly. So that is the users. So group, like I said, is just a collection of users, and all the policy that you create or the permission. Okay, the policy, when analyzed, you get what we call permission. Okay, when the policy are being analyzed by AWS, the resulting factor will be what we call permission. So this permission will be inherited by every single user within the group, and they will be able to have access to the permission. Okay, therefore practical example will be an admin group with full access or developer group with limited access to S3. So if you add those users to the group, they'll be able to have access to the S3 based on their use case. Okay, so that is group, collection of users. So let's move on. Again, I've explained why the users, adding them to a group is very important. The reason being, you can streamline your user management. You can onboard and easily remove users. So when you have new users joining in a team, you can easily add them And then when they leave, you can easily remove them without actually tampering with the permission or the policy. Okay, because the policy is attached to the group, not the individual. That is the best practice, leveraging on the group level. Again, consistency in the permission. Remember, this team, they have similar role, they are performing same function, and therefore the policy that you attach to them are the same. So you have consistency across board. It's easy to manage your policy on the group level than to create policy for individual users. That will be a problem when you are managing it. It's going to be very huge policy that you manage individually. So leveraging on the group is quite appropriate for your use case. So this will also reduce administrative overhead, okay, significantly reduce errors, and then management complexity compared to assigning permission to individual users or an entity. Okay, so that is the important, and I hope you understand the scenario. Our main motive is to move forward into our management console and then perform the practical side of things, just to understand it as well, not just the theory but also the practical. This is what we're trying to drive forward here at Simply Done Technology, and it's our motive that every viewer, whether you are beginner or senior level, we are all here to support you drive your experience forward. Okay, so that is the group. Like I said, I made mention of policy. I've got a separate video explaining what the policy about, the rules, explaining the JSON document. If you haven't watched it, again, refer back to my videos, subscribe to my channel, comment on it, and then again like them, just to have notify in case I do new videos. So again, refer back to my old videos and look into the policy. So here I'm just going to mention it. It's just a rule that we set. It's a document that we write to determine what level of permission or what action an individual can take against a resource. And when this policy is analyzed, we get what we call the permission. Okay, so that is it. Again, I'm not going into a bit detail to explain it. There's a separate video for it. This is a sample of the policy. Okay, effect is you're allowing the following actions, okay, against this resource, and this condition is that the person or whoever trying to access this resource will have or will come from this particular IP address. So if you are not within this range, you will not be able to access it. So it's a condition for a particular user with this IP range to be able to get bucket and put bucket on this particular S3 resources. Okay, so this is it on a higher level. Let's switch quickly to the management console, create users, add them to a group, and then attach policy, appropriate policy to them. In the scenario is you have IT security team, 20 of them, for example, they all want access to the security policy to be able to do some security audit within your AWS account. You as a cloud or DevOps engineer has been tasked to execute this request, and this is how we're going to do it. First of all, we're going to log into our AWS account. Okay, by that, my permission, not my permission, my password and username is going to be analyzed by AWS, and they will authenticate me into it. So okay, let's go in. I'm not saving that. Okay, so once I'm authenticated into my AWS account, okay, what we need to go into is the IAM. So here in the IAM, we will have IAM resource. Again, there's a separate video I've explained this. What we need to do is going to create the users first, and then we can create a group, or the vice versa is also valid. Okay, you can create the group and then add the users. Let's start from the group level, because we're going to create a group and then we add the users to it. So the group name, let's give the name IT security team. Okay, for now we are not adding these users you see here. Probably they belong to the development team. We don't need to add them to anything. Okay, so we'll skip this. If you want to add them, you could have just ticked this box. Yeah, but they belong to a different team, so we skip. Again, we are not adding the permission now. I want to show you how to add it when the users has already been created, or if you want, you can select the policy you want to attach straight away. But let's just create a group as we are interested. All you need to do is to create a group, but what you want, you can put do they have description here? There's no description. That's fine. So what we do is we will create the group. The group is getting created, and let's refresh this and see. Yeah, the group is being created. So for now there hasn't been any permission, and this has been created just now. There's no user attached to this group, and this is where we're going to create our users and then add them to the group. Okay, remember they need permission as security audit. Yeah, so all we do is we create users. Okay, and then go create. So this user is, let's say it's called Bob. Right, he needs access to the management console. He needs to be logged into the AWS. This is the management console. Okay, AWS trying to push it to identity center. It's a separate video I'll be doing. Okay, but for now all we need to do is we're creating a user here. The auto-generated password, this is more of best practices. Again, they need to create their own password on their initial login, so auto-generated password will be given to them. Once they authenticate for the first time, they will be requested to, let's say, change their password. So I will leave it like that. Okay, and what we'll do is, so user must create a new password at the next login. Basically that is recommended, because you're going to give them a password and therefore they need to change it on their initial login. So take this box, it's best practices. Yeah, all we need to go is to the next. Okay, right, this user, we want the user to be part of what we call the IT security team. Bob is an IT security expert, so we'll put him under the security team, and all we need to do is go next. Okay, we're adding him to the group, and then we go next. Okay, and all we need to do is to create the user, and what you do is you pass this login user console URL to the user, and then with this password you pass it to him as well. The user will be able to authenticate with this password, but he will be notified to change the password on the initial login. Okay, we are happy with that. Imagine you send this to the user, you go off and authenticate. So let's go back to the user. I'm happy to continue on here. Okay, if you go back to the user group, we now have one user, but we don't have any policy being attached on here or permission being attached on here. Okay, so the next step is to give them that audit, security audit permission. This is what we call the job function. Okay, it's a permission that is specific for a job function. This is security team, so therefore we will need to give that. So let's click on that, or actually click into it. Okay, you have all your users, you have your permission, so you click on the permission. You can add more, as you saw here. If you create other users, you can add them. Okay, so permission, and then what we have here is add permission. In my next video, I'll be talking more specific about what we call inline policy. What is it about inline policy in a nutshell? These are policies that you attach to a specific user or group. By that I mean it's dependent on the group. Therefore, if you remove it, if you delete the user or group, this policy, inline policy, will also be removed. Okay, it's not reusable. But the other policy, as in the manage policy, either customer manage or customer manage or AWS manage policy, that is reusable. Inline policy is not reusable. So again, we want to attach a reusable policy. Okay, and that policy, like I said, is a job function, which is AWS manage. Okay, AWS manage job function, and what we are interested was the security audit. That is what the request was about. Okay, they need access to the security audit permission in your AWS account to be able to do a bit of auditing within your account. So this is what you need, and it's a role function. When that one is done, you attach it. Okay, we are attaching it to the IT security group. Okay, now we have the policy being attached. If you go back to the group again, can you see we have one permission attached? Okay, so this is it. It's better you manage your user at the group level. A collection of users are called groups, and therefore you attach a policy to the group. All the users that you can add them to the group will have access or have the permission. In other words, inherit the permission attached to the group. Okay, so what we want to do, a quick one, is there's another user you want to add. He's just a new person joining the company and is part of the IT team. You're going to create a user, and let's say this user is called Harry. You need console access, password, and then all you need to do, go next. You're gonna add the user to this group, go next, done. Okay, see how easy it is. So this user will have the same permission that's already existing. I don't need to attach a separate permission or policy to this group. Okay, go back, and then I can see the group. Two users are in here. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is the relationship between IAM users, group, and policy. You create users, you create groups, you add users to the group, and attach policy to the group. It's easier to manage. You can easily onboard and deboard new users. However, you can also streamline all your users and then the policy and the permission. It's easy to handle it that way. Okay, so what I say is happy learning. Please subscribe, like the video, and also comment for more videos. If you want me to do any particular topic, please also put it down in the comment box, and I'll be happy to handle that as well. So happy learning and keep learning. Thank you very much.